The public outcry against embattled New York Congressman George Santos is not letting up. Today, a group of concerned citizens from his district continued their calls for him to step down.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, Santos has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Santos has got to go. Hey, hey.
They are demanding Speaker Kevin McCarthy bring a resolution to the House floor that would expel the congressman. Santos stands accused of lying about his personal life, education, and campaign expenditures. He also faces active investigations by the House Ethics Committee, Nassau County, and New York State and federal investigators. But Santos is adamant that he won't step down, tweeting just yesterday that, "Let me be very clear. I'm not leaving, I'm not hiding, and I'm not backing down. I will continue to work for NY-03, as in his district, and no matter what, no amount of Twitter trolling will stop me. I'm looking forward to getting what needs to be done, done." But the group Concerned Citizens of NY-03 want Santos removed as their representative as soon as possible. Joining me now is Jody Kass. She's a coordinator with the nonpartisan citizens group. Jody, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And tell us what happened at your event this morning.
Well, it was a two-part event. The first part was focused on bringing a petition to Representative Santos. We wanted to make sure that he knew that we were not going away. We wanted to make sure that there would be no normalization of this imposter being a congressman. And we wanted to amplify our voices. You know, we had been in Washington last week. About 50 of us took a bus down to Washington. We traveled about 10 hours altogether, and we demanded to see him, and he was in his office, and he wouldn't come out and talk to us. We did the same thing today. This was in the district office. We asked him to come out and talk with us. He wouldn't, so we handed the petition off to one of his aides, and then we spoke about the things that we needed from him, and the most important thing is that we need him gone. We explained to him that even though he has apparently forgiven himself, that the constituents do not forgive him, and we will never forgive him. We will never be able to. Nobody trusts him. Nobody wants to work with him. His constituents are afraid to share personal information. They're afraid they're going to be the next victim of his next ripoff. So we wanted to be very clear that this is a problem, not just even for NY-03, but also for all of Long Island, as the congressional delegation works to fight for resources, for our roads, for our bridges, for Superfund cleanups. We need to have a united delegation, and when Santos is involved, he sucks up all the air in the room, and it's just going to be a distraction, and all of the rest of the Long Island congressional delegation is hamstrung really until he's gone.
Right, and you need an effective congressman, a congressperson, and you don't have that one right now. But the big question, I think everybody's asked this question, is how do you get him to resign? He says no. So what if he just decides, I'm going to go the 2 years?
So there's a couple of different ways to get rid of him. One of them is obviously if Speaker McCarthy were to tell him that he doesn't have his support, I think you'd see something different. Whether or not that would be enough to shame this guy into actually resigning is unclear. But the fact that he still has Speaker McCarthy's support is a problem, especially since Speaker McCarthy knew a full year before this guy was elected that he was a fraud.
And
so
you also, it seems that you have the support of Long Island's congressional delegation, including the Republicans, correct?
Well, we certainly have heard from them that they have called on Santos to resign. In fact, if the party chair, Joe Cairo, has been very clear publicly and said that they've taken responsibility, even though he didn't see the vulnerability study, but that he has said that Santos does not belong in Congress. He does not belong serving the people. The problem with that is, you got to do more than say it. You got to do something. And of everybody, Joe Cairo is probably the closest to the Republicans in Washington who can make this happen. And one of the things I was hoping to do today is really, and I invited him to join us today, was to ask for his help. We really need help to get this. There's a resolution that was introduced in Congress, in the House last week to actually expel George Santos, and that resolution was referred to the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee has just been constituted, and it hasn't had its first meeting, and we don't want the resolution to go there to die. We need that resolution out of committee, and we want it on the House floor for a straight up or down vote. And how do we make that happen?
Well, you're not going to make it happen as long as Kevin McCarthy doesn't want it to happen. I mean, he controls all the votes.
But Joe Cairo can help make Kevin McCarthy want that.
Well, he might be able to. But that also begs the question, though. Do you get the sense, because I was watching the State of the Union and we saw Santos there standing on the aisle so everyone could see him, and Mitt Romney said something to him and it was a whole big thing. But do you get the sense that Santos wants to find a place somewhere on Capitol Hill where he'll be welcome? Perhaps we've seen a little bit it from some of the more conservative members of Congress. Do you see that happening?
You know, I don't. I would say that George Santos is a grifter, and he has grifted his way into a job that now pays him $174,000. I think if he's sitting by himself or if he's sitting with some other, extreme Republicans, I don't think it matters to him. He's getting the money. And, he's going to hang on as long as he possibly can. Now he's threatening to run again. He's actually going against, and all the Republicans are saying they don't want him to run, but now he's threatening them.
That would be something, him running again. I think someone did a poll that said his rating right now is lower than Richard Nixon's was in 1974. And for those of us that remember 1974, we know that rating was pretty low, and we know how that ended. We're not sure how this one's going to end. Do you have hopes that even the Republicans, like Kevin McCarthy, who has a very slim margin in the House, a very slim margin, would even say, hey, I'll take my chances because this is too much of a distraction?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't think that they understand this district. This district is very purple. Yes, I understand it's been won by Democrats for the last, I think, 5 elections. But look at how well Zeldin did in this district and on all of Long Island. I think a fair fight. They should be welcoming a fair fight, which would happen if we can get rid of Santos, and then take their chances, and then they'd be able to get on with the business of running the government. Yeah,
many people feel that the only thing that could really move this whole thing is if a indictment, perhaps a conviction. We don't know if any of that will happen, but certainly that possibility exists. Jody, Kass, I wish you luck, and I thank you very much from the concerned citizens of NY-03. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, and thanks for being with us. We reached out to Congressman George Santos for comment. We've yet to hear back, but he's welcome to respond whenever he's available.